I've had a few loss, and then a few break evens. Sometimes I've been in profit, and then it's reversed on me. So I've been trying to get like, and now I start to get a little bit scared of going. Oh, I need to just. Oh, I feel like I want to move to break even straight away, or something like that. So I'm starting to get a little bit like cautious about that now.
Okay.
I want to see some profit. I want to build up the account. Also, it start to go down 3 times. Oh my god.
Yeah. Well, I think because I looked at some of you guys' statements and understanding of things. There's maybe a little element that I want to bring to your attention. So a lot of the stuff that you guys are doing is home run tendencies, right? Which is yeah, you've got a movement, pull back, let's keep going at that. Okay, so just a few things that I wanted to bring up so that we can adjust. I was talking about this with Lee earlier today. Let's fix the terminology a bit. So when you have a refresh coming in like this, I want you guys to call this a retracement. Okay?
Okay.
When you guys have a refresh like this, and when it takes out the guy who started it, now it's actually a pullback, which means the market is pulling back.
Okay.
Right? It's a two different thing. This one can happen in the next day or so, and it can still play out. This one requires you to be as close to that momentum as possible because it's his play still active. Right? A retracement basically means someone has just booked a little bit of profit, so prices have come up a little bit to smack it back down, kind of thing.
Okay, so that'll happen quickly.
It should happen quickly.
Should
And if
happen
it doesn't
quickly.
happen quickly, then it's like, okay, there's a problem.
Okay.
All right. Another thing I want to point out is
Does that mean it's more like a cheese style? Is that what
not necessarily more of a cheese style because you can still see it on the same time frame where you see the refresh.
Okay.
Like you're still watching it on that refresh, but then the urgency of that might be a little bit more rather than less because the other one can roll over a long time, and then Asia might happen in between, so it rolls over even longer, and then London comes in and does all the probes and this and that, and then it resumes. Right, so your technique that you guys are trained to do is a singular edge. I haven't given you guys any other edges so far. Okay, there's like a billion edges that needs to be mastered, but the singular edge that you have needs to be further refined down to perfection. So the singular edge that you have right now is price goes one way, come back a little bit, and let's go that same way again. Right? That's the whole singular edge. Now, the refinement of that is how you do things with your volumes and stuff at a normal level, which means blah, 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 blah. Okay. Now, I'm going to show you where your knowledge is correct, and I'm going to show you where you need to pay attention to that knowledge. Okay, where would you like the volume to be on this?
The beginning of the drop.
Okay, good. Okay, so you have the volume of both. Okay. Thank you. Yeah, so you have the volume up in the high areas, right? And then as price starts to pull back, then you start to begin your processing phase of, I want to see what I can do to roll it over. So the way I was explaining this to Ali earlier is what you have going for you is a promise of this guy saying, I'm still around. Right? Now, if your cells fail, for example, do not switch into a buy because you trap somebody just there. Because when you were selling, you had a promise from a larger seller in play. Now, as you're switching to the buy because the cells are failing, you don't have that promise behind you. To do that, you got to take out the guy who started it and get that promise behind you saying there's a larger player involved in this buy, and now you begin your preparation for doing your buys. If you want to
Okay.
switch directions, right? You can't switch directions down here because it can easily probe and on its way down.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, so these are the few elements that wanted to iron out. Next thing, just like you guys said, there's a volume, right? You guys said there's volume there. So another thing you have to realize from that volume is what caused that volume and how much volume. Okay, so sometimes we just look at volume and think, okay, it looks pretty big compared to surrounding areas. But if you really focus on that, let's say NFP has come out, interest rate has come out, X, Y, and Z information has come out, CPI news has come out, and therefore we've got a lot of volume that's come in. What it's basically telling you is this movement on your daily candle might be something that's making a new low from a resistance or support level. If it is doing that, now your urgency is higher because now you're stepping into a trend. Okay, so you have to be very clear in your mind is, are you trading on a day that is a trending day, or are you trading on a day that is, I'm in between a range or something on some higher time frame, and no news event, no nothing. I just see a refresh, so I'm just trying to pursue a refresh. And every single day you see a refresh, it's like apply edge, apply edge, apply edge, and then it's like, yeah, but on this market condition you make fantastic money because it's absolutely perfect. But in this market condition, it's as if the edge is just like all over the place. It's not even working. So you have to bring your awareness to, during what state of the market does my edge flourish, and how do I make that my focus of attention, that I need that condition for me to go after this style of trading.
Okay.
You see what I mean? So you have to come to that conclusion by looking at your other trades that you've done in the past. Now, how many of you guys can tell me, because now you guys have traded for some time, right? Just imagine, okay, just imagine every time you guys had all like a winning trade, how many times have you seen in the prop group, everyone says, oh, I'm in this trade, oh, I'm in that trade, oh, I'm in this trade, and literally everybody made fun.
Yeah, it's common.
So is
I-
a common condition the market moves?
Yes.
It's not just that one pair, the entire market moves. Why is the entire market moving? What is causing that reason? Do I need that reason to activate? Do I need to use some indicator that will show me that, hey, the volume's going crazy across the board? You know, what can I do to put myself in that frame that says, now do the pullback and then go after it now, and it will all just work.
Okay.
You see, because you guys have the awareness of that. And that's why I'm like, the times you guys have made money, you were not the only one who made money. Everyone in the group made money. And the times when it's like, I have a trade, the other guy doesn't have a trade, the other guy has a trade, then their numbers are mixed, right? Someone has a loss, someone has a win, because it's unreliable at that state. You don't have a stable way to say, and I always make money in that condition.
Mhm.
So that consistency element is now random.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes, thanks.
What's the like answer for that? Like what I mean, so like pay attention to it, but like is there anything that, is it just to say, okay, we've got to look for the news days, or is it like
Okay,
minimum-
so think about it. So if Yashtil is saying I'm looking to sell Aussie dollar today, and then Ollie says I'm looking to actually sell Aussie CAD today,
Yeah.
Ali says, I want to sell Aussie yen today.
Yeah, it's consistent that everyone's
It's
trying to sell.
consistent to the direction is consistent, and everyone's talking about selling Aussie. So why sell Aussie? What is it about Aussie that is pulling all of you guys towards it? That could be your starting point, which is it's so good that across the board, all setups fall under this wonderful, strong movement that happened in Aussie yesterday or in London, and now we're trading New York, and we're trying to basically leech off of that movement that London did. So we can say, come on, I was waiting for a pullback and I finally got it. And we all are waiting for that pullback. Actually, we all want to do that pullback. But that starts your starting day of, that's where I want to put my focus on. I don't want to go to CAD Swiss franc and just fiddle around with anything just because it looks like a pattern. I need to know my pattern will work. So what is that? What is that thing?
Mhm.
What will give it away that says, now we pay attention to this? So remember how we always said, when you have this movement and then suddenly you have that, what's the word we use for the big boy? What happened to the big boy?
Oh, like he got his desperation happened because he saw this. Actually, no, maybe
Bleeding.
got away from him.
Yeah.
Bleeding, desperation. And why is that? Why is he bleeding? Why is there desperation?
Not filled.
Is not filled. Okay, you add that together with high volume, then at least you now know, oh, I bet you he wants to go long and he didn't get filled. You add that together with an event that causes that, and you add that together with, this is a daily chart or a 4-hour chart. This is strong. This is big. If you further add that together and saying all the Aussies did this, they broke their levels or they entered a new high or a new low territory, or they broke their temporary ranges right now. Now you have something you're working with, that you have a strong partner that says, I still want to go up. Now you bring in your patterns and you say, okay, that means I need to do this. If I can just get something that comes down, I'll figure it out. Then you go in saying, I have technical skills to say, if something comes down, I can squeeze money off of that thing. But you need to start that with the research of, I know it's going to buy. Okay, what you guys are doing with your edge is you're applying this to any market conditions, any pullback that is visible. You're not applying it at the right, consistent way of, I know this makes money because I've seen it. I've done it so many times. I've documented it. And the weird correlation is, during these days, everyone makes money in the prop trading firm or in the elite community. So how do I position myself on those days? Maybe on those days, I should be trading 10x bigger and not shoot for singles, but go for larger size. You know, go for multiples, but even multiples with size, you know, go for the 3R, the 4R, but with size.
Yeah.
And all the other days are basically, let me see if I can get a buy from here. Okay, done. You know, that's my play. You know, instead of trying to make a home run when you don't have the right conditions to do that new high. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I'm just thinking about it. So it's the fact that we are aware that this is not a daily break, or it is a daily break or a higher time frame break. So it's more stronger. And if it is stronger, we would approach it in a certain way. If it's not a daily break, we would approach it in a certain way. That way, our post analysis, our PAs would be more consistent and we would know what we're doing.
Correct. What was the trade that was being done on Thursday or something like that, when everyone was after, I think, US dollar? I think Ollie had Aussie USD.
Oh, yeah. USD sell and Swiss yen. I was looking at sell as well. Oh wait, I forget. Anyway, USD sell was definitely Ollie's. I was looking at that as well.
USD sell, right?
Is it USD
Okay.
yen?
Weakness. Yeah.
So it was a USD thing or a yen thing?
A USD thing.
A USD thing. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's pull it up. This was on what time frame that he was trying to do? You guys were trying to do a sell on it?
4 hour, I think it was. They were looking like refreshes on the 4 hour.
On USD yen, which was this one, I'm guessing. This is Friday, so this is
Yeah.
Thursday.
Try
Yeah,
and
I
get
think-
low and then take it further.
Okay, so now look at this movement where it is versus all the other ones. Euro USD, very similar. Pound USD, very similar. Aussie dollar, very similar. New Zealand dollar, very similar. It's all in a pullback state with the overall flow being in your five. Now look at this. Elevated volume, right?
Yeah.
It's high volume on that movement. So there's intentional movement on the way down, and then there's some volume coming up on the way up, which means it's not now to do the sells, stand by. Right? He's taking out the guy. I'm sorry, he's not taking out any guy at this stage yet. It's coming up, pulls back, they hit the buys, goes up, new high, smaller than last time. There's a level, comes back in, chops, 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 and then the movement begins from there. But you're getting your volume starting to come back. Okay, from logical levels that everyone is seeing. And then the attempts were all from the higher lows, in this case, lower high. Okay, so USD yen didn't do so well. I think I heard someone doing Aussie dollar.
I did pound Aussie buy on Friday.
Because I remember Henning saying to somebody that Aussie dollar was fantastic though.
I think it was Ollie who took Aussie dollar.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. Okay. So you have these criterias where the whole group has a certain look to it. The whole group has reached a certain stage. Now, let me bring this up to a higher time frame. Let me put a line first. So I can, right there. Perfect. And daily. Okay, here we are on the daily. That movement down and that movement up on all the other pairs. Is there volume behind that? Let's start with the first one, Euro USD on the third top left.
There is volume.
There's volume. What did the price do on that daily chart?
Made a new high.
Made a new high. It broke through a level. It broke through resistance and made a new high. Okay, pound USD.
Same.
Also volume and made a new high.
Aussie dollar and New Zealand dollar.
Same.
Mm,
Well, Aussie dollar questionable, but same.
Okay, how about USD yen? Top right, USD yen.
same as well.
So not only is he breaking through levels, but he's doing it with some intentional volume that comes behind it. All you guys are doing is now putting on template of I know how to trade trend pullbacks. And you're saying if the pullback can come in somewhere around that level, I'll figure it out. Okay, the figuring out is basically all the work you guys have been doing for the last 1 year to 2 years, all that technical hard work to get it down to perfection. But now it's where do I apply that pattern? I can't just apply it everywhere in the market. I need to apply it in a certain type of condition. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
Makes sense.
What is that volume on Thursday, 1st of December?
Not sure what caused it.
Was it jobs or was it Friday?
Friday was NFP.
This was, I I think not last Friday. Not last Thursday. Thursday before it, right?
Mhm.
Right, 1st of December.
Oh, okay. Then I don't know. I can check.
So there was some high activity to cause this. And what you guys are doing is you guys didn't take the momentum trades next to it, which means you're on the same day taking all the buys, taking all the buys, taking all the buys. That's one way to do it. Okay. What you've done is you've come in the next day and the next day after that saying, bring it down, and I'll hit it up again. Okay, you see the conditioning of it is you didn't ride the wave itself, but you're now saying, if I can just get a pullback, it's going to confirm the wave is real. They've broken out and they're staying out there. It's not coming back in. And the way we know that is because the pullback is struggling. So we know it's not coming back in. It's not a probe.
Yeah, it
Therefore,
was
the buy
jobless.
is
Jobless.
jobless. Okay. So there is an impact in the market that's basically telling you you can either trade immediately on that day and just keep hitting the buys, or you can wait for the pullback to come in. And then you attempt it with the idea of we're at a major level here, like let's say SNR, and we're trying to trade that, not because it's a range breakout, it's because it's a range breakout with purpose, intention, and volume that is holding. Now it's a range breakout test trade.
Okay.
Okay, because it's not just your traditional thing. This is not something you should be trading as a breakout buy right there as a test. See the key differences between those two? They're both the same thing. This one doesn't hold up there and it fails. So anything you go down to a 60-minute before the candle closes, you try to do a buy, you're dead. Yeah, see the differences?
Yeah.
So these are the ways you want to position yourself of saying, if I'm going to attach myself to something that has a reason to move, then it's got to be that. Now, what about intraday trading? What if, yeah, but what if you say, okay, Naveen, these volumes, if you look at it, I didn't necessarily have anything in November per se. If I go with this one and would say that's a high one, or that one, that's a high one, then we would say, well, that basically means, okay, that, but by the time I get a pullback to do a buy off of that thing, oh man, I'm really, really high up in the sky. And hopefully there's some level there that I can use. But look how long that is. It's like half the month has gone by before you get that one trade. But do you know to do that buy? Do you know to do that buy? So
Okay.
what is it intraday that tells you? So the daily paves the way and says, here's what we're going to do. Intraday, you are now saying, now show me all the elements that line up with that direction until the energy runs out, and then I'm going to get a pullback into the daily, and then I'll trade that as well.
Okay.
You guys get what I mean?
So on intraday, we also want to see high momentum breaches with high volume, and then like slow, low volume pullback to tell us it should continue. The daily is not done yet.
Yeah. So for example, let's say we're looking at this day here. Let's say we're looking at this type of breakout, right? That's the breakout that has volume on it, right?
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
so that breakout's happening, but on that day as the breakout's happening, let me bring it down to 60. Okay, here it is. Can you get a buy done there, knowing that the daily candle at that time is at its all-time high? Which means that wherever the daily candle started, wherever the daily candle is right now, I'm dealing with new highs. Now, the scary part is if I chase a high, the only way I'm going to make money is if it goes higher. That's so scary and risky because our training tells us we're all about come down, give me a discount, and then I'll go.
Mm.
This has broken through a fresh level today, New York, and it's gone through. Can you get this buy? Can you get London's buy? Can you get anything done there if it tells you it's on its way? Can you get more stuff done? So how do you know if you're stepping into a trending state or not? Is where you're going to have to define yourself. So the way it keeps breaking that high, if it breaks it with volume, that tells you this thing still has juice on it. Look at how the MAs are being respected. They're not even being tested. Okay, once the MAs start getting tested, then we have this idea of, I don't know, maybe it's going to come back down to the MA there. Maybe it's going to come back down all the way down to that daily range and then test back up. And that's a whole new trade that might take a few days. But this opens up the doors to say, pull back buy, pull back buy, pull back buy, pull back buy.
Okay.
That's intraday. That's intraday. Okay. You see the key difference here with this volume?
So we're still monitoring the volumes on each push from the buyer and each pullback from the seller. Is that the main thing that we look for?
Okay, so that word is very dangerous because it's that word that's making us take the shortcut route of saying, oh, I just have to do a pullback in an uptrend. That's the main thing. I want to get a pullback and then buy it. You see what I mean? Like, try to not think of it like, oh, that's the main thing. So I'll put all my energy and focus on the main thing because everything else is not important. You know?
Okay.
Yeah. So I want you to be careful with that word. It's not really the main thing. It's a thing that you have to stay on top of. Okay, but we are, you know me, I like to take you through sequences of you've learned this, you've mastered it, you're breaking your head towards it. Now it's become natural for you. I want to open up a little bit more information and see now where does that fit into what you already know really, really well. So now I'm not changing how you do your pullbacks. I'm saying do your pullbacks exactly how you were trained to do it. But I'm now adding a little element to it saying, how about now? How does your pullbacks behave now? Does that make sense?
So are you saying that we look at all the pieces, like, so we'll take volume as one, momentum, the MAs, and then we put it together and then we kind of see, should this continue or should it pull back in deeper? And then based on that, what should I do? So volume may not be the most important every time. Sometimes another piece could tell us that it's still good. Okay.
So now notice this thing. I brought you here from the daily, right? And we talked about Naveen, but if I do the daily, I'll have one trade every 15 days or something. I won't, maybe even not even that, you know, who knows? Maybe in a month we get 4 times in a month, but sometimes we'll get once in a whole month or sometimes nothing. So that is big movements, large movements with a strong strength behind it that you can keep playing. But you also have movements that is above average and above normal that does very similar tendencies of breakout, brand new highs, which you can also intraday buy. You can buy all of that stuff by saying, I can play it 60-minute and 5 minutes. So this one would be, because this is New York, you would be basically playing it in Asia. Or New York itself, if you can go down to the 5 and just play it right there. Otherwise, you'd have to do a pullback that comes in and say, can I trade that for London Open. But what does London Open do? Uh-oh. It's the reverse. It has such a big range that it breaks down by eating up the buy volume. It's done the opposite. Now you're in a dilemma. Now it's basically, I know it's overall uptrend, but the volume is coming for the sells. I'm on standby. I don't know what I need to do. I'm stuck. Because the guy who started it's still alive also. So I'm actually stuck. I don't know what to do.
Okay.
Okay. Now, this area kills the guy who started it and he starts to come down and the volume is this much. So now you have to think, compared to that, is this something I need to be worried about? Overall, this direction, is that something, are we rolling back over to go down? But all my MAs are up. The 20, the 50, the 200. That's where your MAs come in handy. You have to use that as well and saying, no, I'm not going to trust that downward movement. I just want to see if I can get a trap and I can see if I can take it back up and maybe I can buy off of it by taking out this guy who started it. And I have this big boy as my partner to say, I got your back, but I also have a new guarantee behind me saying, I'm also going back up. In this case, he pops up. Now, I know how you guys think this pop-up is, oh, it's too high now. I can't trade this. I'm trying to bring you guys away from that mindset of too high is this type of condition where there's a resistance coming at you. But if that resistance is broken, too high does not exist because you might be about to make new highs going forward because the resistance just broke. But you're not trying to trade this as a breakout trade from a daily saying, I'm going to buy it here and put a stop loss here. You're trying to intraday trade this by saying, I'm going to buy it there and put my stop loss there. And I'm going to keep pushing it because I know the momentum is spot right now. So I'm going to keep smashing orders onto it over and over again. So this is the difference between hitting the gas pedal and then saying, no, I need a proper pullback now. A full-blown pullback and then I get involved. So you have intraday trades, so this type of thing. Okay. Guy who started it there, huge congestion. Congestion starts to break. You can get these buys done under 5-minute charts. You can get them all done.
Is it fair to say that if the price doesn't say it hasn't broken through that higher time frame resistance and a pullback comes in, then any buys we do, the whole except for this in this scenario, I think it just comes in very strong with high volume. That's different. But any pullback we get, the idea is to close at the high because we say there's higher chance prices don't break the high in Forex. However,
okay,
if it's
but again, that whole understanding is coming from the traditional way of just looking at how do I process a pullback, which is how far you guys have trained so far.
Yeah,
which is pullback comes in beyond the high of the pullback. We don't really think of anything beyond that point. The education stops, right? Because we generally say we take it up to the recent high and that's it. We don't really care if it breaks the new high or not. But what I'm trying to tell you is, what is the difference between a pullback, a retracement, momentum, non-momentum? And then once you start playing with these, then you have to start finding out, where is my best rhythm? And which of these is my best rhythm? And then you say, I will stop everything else. I'm going to do just that with size.
That makes sense.
So what you're saying is correct, but it has to be in the right condition.
Yeah, and I was going to add to it that, however, the ones where you already have a break of a strong resistance on a higher time frame, and and a pullback comes in that you're trying to take on a smaller time frame so you can enter, then can we say in this case, then we have a higher chance for those highs to break and go higher?
Yes, especially if this is this. Okay, it all determines on this level. Remember when earlier I was telling you guys about this level? This level is a teeny beating level. It is range. It's a congestion that's breaking. There is volume at the break, but that volume, that level, everything is not seen by anybody else except the 60.
Yeah.
Which means you can play a 5-minute intraday day trading game on that, but nothing else.
Yeah.
What I mean to say is, any of you guys, can you move the market? No. Who can move the market?
I think Sanjit can, but not me.
Yeah. But he's busy these days, so he's not moving the market either. So who moves the market?
Big boys.
Banks and hedge funds.
Large funds, large big caps move the market. Now, where do we fit in that? What do we do?
We follow them.
Follow,
Yeah, but what are we doing? How do we make our money?
pullback. So
We're
whatever moves it,
we're trying to read what they do, get involved in it, and get out before they get out. That's technically what we're doing. We're basically coming in and saying, I took from you 200 orders, which I know you want, and I sold them back to you at a more expensive price. We're basically the mafia, right? It's basically, he says, I want every order possible. And what we did was, I know what you want. We stood in line at the Apple store. We bought 200 pieces ourselves at a low price. And then we go back to the mafia saying, I know you want this. I'll sell it to you for $20 more. And he says, fine, give it to me. If he's not willing to buy from you, if there isn't a large player there, and then you are wasting your capital by standing in line and buying all those inventory. That is the key difference. You can do the setup. You can stand in line at the Apple store as much as you want. It's available 24 hours a day. It doesn't mean someone will buy it from you. Get that condition first. Make sure you have a buyer lined up, so you can take that inventory at a good deal and give it to him because you know he wants it. Get that thing right first. Find that buyer and you're like, I know he wants it. Now I'll begin my process. I'll make the right phone calls. I'll do whatever I need to do to get as many pieces as I can. But I know there's a buyer who's going to take every single stock from me when I need to sell it. That is the underlying importance, which means you cannot even start your pullback if that is messy or foggy. Right? So we're going backwards in your education. We're training backwards. You've done correlation. You've come to technical. We've gone back to correlation. Now we're going back to even more basics. The guy who started. We're going even more basics from the guy who started it to. Is there a
C1T.
reason the guy who started it's very important?
Okay.
Because this way it will all click in your head like, oh my God, yes, of course. You know, because I've done the pullback 100 times and it works 50 times. How do I get this to work 90%? It's that underlying story keeps getting missed and or hit, but you're unaware of why it's working certain times. Okay, so let's change this up a little bit. How long do we have? We have 10 more minutes before yes. You're out of the
Yeah,
cold.
I might disappear.
Okay. Let's take a look at a whole different thing, something completely different. That's not all the again on anything that we just looked at. Okay. I'm just gonna ask you guys simple questions. And the question is gonna be pursue or don't pursue. Okay?
Okay.
And try not to look at it based on hindsight. Try to look at it based on the logic of like, should I even go after this? Okay. This area here. Pursue the cells.
The MAs are still pointing to the upward direction, even though there's high volume for the sell side. So
Okay.
it would maybe don't pursue it on a lower time frame because it can snap back.
Good. Good. Okay. Another things that you have to notice, overall flow is up. The way it's come down, we're right up neck and neck to the guy who started it. And it's been holding sideways, 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 pops down and we're like, I only want to do a buy, not a sell. This doesn't make any sense. Not until I get the guarantee that if I take out this guy, then I can maybe think of sells, because I need to shift the direction completely. So I cannot do this pullback sell off of it. It's not real. It's not legit. But when that volume comes back in, pursue, don't pursue.
Pursue.
Probe.
Okay, so now if you go for that pursue, okay, let me put it this way. It's on its way back up. It's reaching around there. I'm gonna put my replay right there. I'm gonna bring you down to a 15 minutes. There's that volume that came in here. We don't know to pursue it at this stage because of how sharp the sell-off was. We don't know. 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 Even though you know that the sell-off that happened has a very strong counter buy, you just don't know of what are they gonna try to do with this information.
Okay.
But you do know there is a major resistance level that's been holding at the guy who started it in an overall uptrend, and this could very well be a probe. The only demon in your head right now is, yeah, but if I buy it now, I get a good price.
Yeah.
If I buy it now, I get a good price. Leave that thought process. So let's go back, or let's fast forward this. Okay, here's some volume coming in. This is London Open. Okay. Now let's ask that question: pursue or not pursue?
Pursue.
Pursue. Now this range it's breaking on the 15. Is it breaking everywhere else?
Yes. It's trying to break everyone.
It's trying to break everywhere else. Okay, so London has opened here somewhere, right? 12 o'clock during daylight savings and all that stuff, around 11, 12. London's open here, which means the low of the day is here and it went straight to high of day. All right, if you just think London is one candle, it just
Okay.
opened and blasted straight up. It blasted straight up and it's hanging around high of day above everything. It's broken above everything. And you've got this volume, you've got that volume, and you've got upcoming market open volume behind you. You are now in a mode of, I can go after this from a smaller time frame and keep pursuing the buys again and again and again. Or I can wait for it on this time frame and see what I can get. Here comes the pullback. You know how to read these pullbacks. The question comes is, am I at a level? Should I be afraid of this? What's up with this volume? Why is it at the top? Which is this piece right here. Okay. Fast forward that. Breaking through. have your pullback here. But this part here, buy or don't buy, or the buy is gone, or should we have bought when we first found out that it's going up and we should have gone down to a lower time frame and just monitor that saying, come on, I got to get this buy in. Because the market's open. Market opens here. I don't want to trade New York. Sorry, New York is here. I don't want to trade New York. That's New York. What's the point of me staying awake and being in front of my charts in London if I have to wait for New York to open? What was I doing in London?
Yeah.
Especially when I knew at London, and I already knew prior to London that something's gonna happen. London, it happened. At what point do I just wait and just complain in the prop group? Oh man, I should have been in. Oh man, I should have been in. I hate myself for this, and just having this negative feedback loop going on, when in actuality you should be trading all that. Yeah.
Is this
Making
like an
sense?
open-ended question that we need to think about? Or was there an answer? Okay, so we must come to the answer through trial and error and PAs. Okay.
Yeah, so these are all trades. Sure. These are all trades that you can do, especially when you early find out. If you take it down lower time frames and stuff. Take it down to even 1 minute.
1 minute, okay.
You can get these things done. You can get these things done. If now it's more of a, I know it wants to buy. I just need to get in. I need to get in. So I would prefer this. I'm not getting that, but I understand this. I know what's happening there. Bought it.
Okay, because we know we're expecting a high in this case.
Good. You're not coming in and saying, but my pullback rules are I need to come in deep and this and that. You're not putting into context of what you understood and why you're on this time frame. What are you doing here? You're working off of that. You're not working off of I need my pullback to come here exactly, and then whatever time of day it is, we'll sort it out at that time. Like, you don't want to leave it to a random chance like that again and again.
I think the question that comes
Yeah.
to my mind is, let's say, for example, you're on the daily and
Mhm.
you have some sort of something like this, and then a hold, and then now you have a break of that chunk over here. And then you say,
Okay.
very good, you have a break and things seem to be now moving fast. But then they're also hitting other areas within that move coming down. Am I correct to be worried about those, or you say no, you've broken?
You have to be worried about those, because what you're labeling on the daily is this part, which is okay. So let's say this is a daily. You are explaining a pullback of a daily, which means it's a weekly. He's in progress.
Yes.
That's why the daily is pulling back.
Yes.
So what you need to identify is, what the hell is that? How did it come into existence? That is the primal point of attention before going into, what do I need to do with this? Is this still in a buy mode, just like how this was in a buy mode? I can't think it's a buy just by the pattern. I can only believe the pattern because I know what that is. I know what this is. I understand that. Therefore, everything fits into place accordingly. It's not the pattern that gives me the answer. It's everything prior to the pattern is what the answer is.
Yeah, I think what I was trying to get to is, you know how we said that when, let's say, on a daily, it's when the move is coming up, it's breaking a previous chunk or previous level.
Yeah.
And then we say, okay, well, in that scenario, if on the smaller time frame, if you're getting a pullback and that pullback doesn't come in deep, you say it's okay because now the move has started. It may not come in deep to give you your pullback. You might have to catch it a bit shallower.
Okay. This catching it a bit shallower is not at that location. What you're talking about, that location, is a pullback.
The whole thing is a pullback. Okay.
The whole thing is a pullback. When you're dealing with a pullback, everything above you is a level. It's all levels above you.
Yeah.
You cannot treat it in that same way, because every time it starts moving up, there's a level right above you.
Makes sense. Okay. Yeah.
Right? Because this is a pullback. Now, if I was to tell you visualize this from a higher time frame, what will it look like? You'll have a green bar.
Yeah.
And this movement down will give you a wick like that.
Yeah.
And you're trying to buy in front of that wick. That's not clear. That's not clean.
Yeah.
What I'm trying to tell you is, if you have a range and you're just now breaking out of that range, you have no wick, no nothing. That candle is fully green, and all you're doing is, it hasn't even closed yet. I'm down on the smaller time frame saying, gotcha. Let's go.
Yeah.
You see, you're not tackling anybody's pullback.
Makes
You're
sense.
on the breakout. You're on the breakout
Yeah.
itself.
I
Because you
guess.
understand.
Yeah, I guess what you've answered my question, because I'm comparing this piece over here, which is within that pullback, versus a break that happens above that.
Yes.
Above that level. Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Makes sense.
Because this is still, even if you break out of this and it's on, it's still within a processing of whatever this tells you that is.
Yeah.
Which means this tells you that it's been in a trend. So I don't know if we're at the end of the trend. I don't know if there is high volume right here. That will change the whole paradigm of what that breakout could mean. Remember earlier when I was asking you guys about this one? Would you sell? That's a breakout of that same little consolidation this way. But you guys said no. Why? What made you say no? It's because you understand context.
Yeah.
It's the same thing here. It's not that it breaks and there's volume. Context is still needed.
Yeah. That makes sense. Thanks.
Yeah.
I mean, on that, when it was the 1 minute, then would we put the stop just below that range then? Because if it's coming below that range, or that means that's invalidating what we want to do.
It's sufficient. It's sufficient. You're banking on it's on its way.
Yeah.
This isn't a small thing. The volumes that led up to this, the news events that led up to this is not something small.
Okay, and then the volumes for the open, which would be normally high, it's only when it's broken out of its consolidation area, that's when we're saying, okay, we're using that high volume to tell us it's going in that direction.
Correct. So if you want to do intraday swing trading, make sure your daily or 4 hours got in a proper move that you can play with on your 15 or 16. But if you want to play day trading, which means you want to trade that session, find a group that has purpose. And then you go down to your 5 minutes or 1 minute and tackle that thing. All of this thing is now on a little bit express speed, because you have to process everything that you learned so far on how a pullback works, how it rolls over, how everything. And then while still saying, do I have enough pips to do this? Okay, how far can I take it? Where should I put my stop loss? All this should be natural to you at this stage, because you've done it day in and day out. Now we're just adding a little extra drop in the ocean and saying, now use this as an additional filter. So it should be natural. It shouldn't be complicated now. Yeah. Yeah, so you have to be careful on these areas and be like, oh, are we breaking out? Is it going up? Is it breaking out of the whole area? You have to know that your daily line is here somewhere. Yes, you're breaking out of this area a little bit from this intense volume, right? That is only valid for you trading this buy, this buy, this buy. That's it. But you want that follow through home run, get above that with real volume from the daily and saying, okay, now I'm clear to do all that. I got the big boy behind me. Now I can stand in line. Yeah. So the whole objective of today was put yourself in a position where your trades have a chance to win.
Okay.
Yeah. Then it'll become a lot easier accordingly.
Great. Thanks.
Cool. Now your lights are still
Yeah.
running.
Yeah, it's nice. You can keep going then.
Well, that's basically the main thing I wanted to point out. So it's something that you guys will have to now sort of like backtrack your own trades and be like, okay, with this added information, let me see if there is sort of like a pattern in your trading behavior where, all my winning trades have this element, all my losing trades don't have this element. Okay, maybe if I just add this little element, 80% of my losing trades just disappear. And quite the opposite can happen, which is your winning trades you have so much confidence in that you should actually trade it with a bigger size. Yeah.
Yeah,
Thank you.
thanks, I mean.
Cool. All right, so I'll get the recording up later on. I am late for my meeting, so I'll then see you guys in a bit.
Okay,
See you.
enjoy.